So for this question, solve these modulus inequalities. When you're seeing left hand side modulus, right hand side modulus, actually when you're having a denominator modulus, so the condition is denominator modulus, you can multiply up to the left hand side and right hand side, because when you're having a modulus, denominator means these unknown always come out a result positive for whatever x. So it will not affect the situation of our sign, because inequalities, they will change their sign once you multiply with something negative. So when you're having a modulus, we can multiply it, no problem, without disturb the sign of our inequalities. So when we multiply up, the first step you have to state it is denominator cannot equals to 0. So for this term, because you are changing a rational function to a linear function here, so you can see x originally is x power of -1. But now after you're going to cross multiply, your equation is now is a linear function, just x power of 1. So for rational function, it having the characteristic saying that denominator cannot equal to 0. So your answer definitely cannot accept x equals to 3. Another denominator here is x plus 1. So we have to exclude these two values in our final answer. So that will be our first step doing this cross multiplication when you pull out a modulus denominator up to the right hand side or left hand side. So in this situation, only we can square both sides. Means at left hand side a modulus, at right hand side a modulus, without any unknown outside, without any x here, you can see clearly modulus, here clearly modulus, only we can square both sides. So why we can square both sides? Because your modulus definition is square root and square. So when we're meeting a situation of square root, so that's why we can square both sides. For the left hand side, square root and square can be simplified leaving x plus 1 square. So this one 3 square become 9. So here leaving x minus 3 square. So now we're going to expand it. So expand it, you will have 3 terms, which is a square, x square, then 2ab means 2x, b square 1. So for here same. So now you're having a quadratic inequalities. So rearrange this quadratic in a ax squared bx plus c term. So we move it to the left hand side. You get a negative quadratic. So be careful at here. When we have a quadratic negative, you cannot undergo with your factorization using calculator, because your calculator only perform for the quadratic with positive constant here. So for here, and we notice that this quadratic can be simplified. So we cannot just put x minus 5, x minus 2 from your calculator, because this procedure is not equivalent. It's not logic 1 by 1. So what we need to do when you're having negative quadratic, we still need to simplify negative 8 here, so that you're getting a quadratic, the simplest quadratic, before we going factorization. And when you divide by negative, your sign should be changed. So when you're having the simplest quadratic, then only you can factorize, so that your factorization is equivalent to your quadratic statement here, where x with x you get x squared. It's not x with x you get 8 squared, 8x squared. So this is how we simplify our quadratic. So how to solve this quadratic inequality? We need to draw our graph. positive quadratic, so graph senyong. With the roots that you can see here is 2 and 5. Rearrange your roots according to the order, left hand side smaller value, right hand side bigger value. And less than 0 means the region of negative. So the answer will be located at the region of negative, which is your x. So 2 is smaller than x, then the region is smaller than 5. So write in set solution. Don't forget, for the previously, we already stick out. For this situation, we're not going to accept value of 3 or negative 1. So of course, we can see negative 1 is not involving, but 3, yes. So in set solution, we can accept the answer like this, but in interval, so you have to state out clearly. It will be start from 2, not included, so open bracket, up to 3, which is not included. Then continue, 3 up to 5. So this question, it can be stick in set solution or interval form because question doesn't mention anything.